The rain poured hard on the cracked pavement of an orphanage just outside Atlanta, Georgia. Inside, a little girl named Anaya sat alone by the window, tracing the raindrops with her finger. Her dark, curly hair framed a solemn face far too mature for her 7 years. She'd been in and out of foster homes more times than she could count, always told she was too difficult, too quiet, or too broken. Nobody wanted her. Until the day he walked in. Darius King was the kind of man headlines talked about: self-made billionaire, tech mogul, philanthropist. Raised in the roughest part of Newark, Darius had clawed his way from poverty to penthouses, but never forgot where he came from. His success hadn't hardened him, it had humbled him. He often said, "We rise by lifting others," and he meant it. He'd come to the orphanage that day not with cameras or reporters, but with a deep, aching desire to make a difference, something real. When he saw Anaya, quiet and guarded in the corner, something shifted in him. She didn't run to him like some of the others. She just looked up with tired eyes, as if testing his soul. He knelt down and asked, "Would it be okay if I sat here with you?" She nodded, just once. That nod was the beginning of everything. Darius adopted Anaya within the month. The media called it a publicity stunt. Some whispered he was just trying to look good for his foundation. But Darius didn't care what they thought. In Anaya, he saw himself, a child abandoned by the world but bursting with unspoken potential. Their first years together were tough. Anaya had walls built higher than skyscrapers. She refused to call him Dad. She barely spoke. She hid food in her room. She flinched at loud noises. But Darius never gave up. With patience and therapy, love and consistency, those walls began to crumble. Slowly, she started to trust. She began calling him Pops. By the time she turned 15, Anaya had blossomed. She was top of her class, fluent in code, and already interning at her pop's tech company. Darius would often joke, "She's smarter than I was at her age." She'd laugh, roll her eyes, and say, "Obviously." But there was something she never told him. Late at night, while Darius was asleep or away at meetings, Anaya would sneak into his private home office. She wasn't stealing, she was studying. She combed through his notes, business plans, charitable initiatives. And she found a folder labeled, "Dream Deferred." Inside were blueprints for a school. Not just any school, a tuition-free academy in underserved neighborhoods, complete with tech labs, mentorship programs, and mental health counseling. It was his dream project, paused after several setbacks and doubters. The notes ended with a scribbled line, "Maybe one day, if someone believes enough." Anaya believed. Quietly, she started making moves. Using the skills he taught her, she updated the plans, reached out to his old contacts, secured anonymous donations, and created a compelling pitch deck. She didn't do it for recognition. She did it because she knew what that school could mean for kids like her. She launched a campaign called Future Rising. Under a pseudonym, she presented the project to the Darius King Foundation's board. The idea went viral. Donors poured in. Media outlets praised the anonymous visionary. Darius, intrigued, began investigating. One evening, as he sat at his desk reading through the proposal, he found a familiar phrase tucked into the executive summary: "We rise by lifting others." He froze. Minutes later, he found Anaya on the balcony, gazing at the stars. "You did this?" he asked, voice thick. She nodded. "I found your dream. It deserved to live." Darius felt tears prick his eyes, a man who'd faced boardrooms and billion-dollar deals without blinking. "Why didn't you tell me?" Anaya shrugged. "You believed in me when nobody else did. I wanted to show you I believe in you, too." In that moment, the years of struggle, healing, and hope collapsed into something powerful: legacy. The first Future Rising Academy opened in East Atlanta that fall. Darius and Anaya cut the ribbon together. Students from broken homes walked through its doors with wide eyes and dreams bigger than their circumstances. And when a journalist asked Anaya what inspired her, she said, "I was one of them. Now, I want to be the reason they make it out." 15 years ago, a little girl sat by a rainy window, forgotten. Now, she was the architect of futures. And at the heart of it all was a man who dared to love a child nobody wanted, and a daughter who, in return, built a legacy behind his back that would change the world. Because sometimes, the quietest acts of love speak the loudest. And sometimes, the child you save becomes the one who saves you. The story of Anaya and Darius isn't just about adoption. It's about choosing hope when the world gives you none. It's about dreaming for others when they can't dream for themselves. And it's about the powerful truth that family isn't always blood, it's who shows up and stays, especially when it's hard. In a world that often values wealth over warmth, success over soul, this story reminds us, the richest people aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones who give the most love. And love, when given freely, has the power to change everything.